Hello, welcome to Just One More Stitch. My name is Chris, and today I'll be teaching us how to make a crochet cap or a crochet mesh beret. To start, we're going to be needing our yarn. We're going to need an elastic cord for the band at the end, a pair of scissors, and two different sizes of crochet hook. I'll be using the 4mm hook and the 3.5mm crochet hook. To start, we're going to be making a magic loop, and into the magic loop we're going to be making 12 double crochets, which is 12 DCs. Now for my first DC, I like to crochet 3 single crochets on each other. I believe it makes my work look neater as opposed to the traditional 3 chain starting a row for DC projects. So on chain, and this is my magic loop. So make a chain. Now into the magic loop we are making 12 double crochets. So for the first one, like I explained earlier, 3 double crochets stacked on each other. This is going to serve as our first double crochet for this round and subsequent rounds unless otherwise stated. So into the loop we are making 11 more double crochets as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, because our initial one makes it 12. So you can count to confirm. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we've come to the end of row 1. We're going to slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet of the row. That would be the top of the 3rd single crochet that we made. We slip stitch to close to end the row. Now for the second row, which is row 2, we are going to be making V stitch 1 chain, V stitch 1 chain all the way round. This is a row of increase, so every even row is going to be a row of increase, while every odd row is just going to be a normal row of double crochets and chains. So for row 2, go into your first the same stitch where you slip stitched. Now we're going to be making our first double crochet for that row, 1 chain. Now into the same stitch we're going to go back and make another double crochet into the same row, so 1 chain. Now this is what we are repeating for row 2. V stitch 1 chain into the next chain, into the next stitch, have 1 double crochet, 1 chain, go back in another double crochet, 1 chain. So this is the pattern for row 2. V stitch 1 chain in each stitch to the end. We've come to the end of row 2. Now we're making our last V stitch into the last stitch. Now do not forget your 1 chain at the end of each row. So after the 1 chain we slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet of the row. Now for row 3 up to the end, unless otherwise stated, we are going to be working into the chain spaces, not into the stitch, into the chain spaces. So the chain space between each V stitch and the chain space after each V stitch. So for the next row, which is row 3, it's going to be just a normal row of, so into the next chain space, sorry, let's do that first. Into the next chain space we're going to slip stitch 1 chain. Now we're going to be, like I said earlier, we're going to be working into the chain spaces of each row going forward. So this is a row of just 1 double crochet, 1 chain all the way around. it's an odd row, so it's just a row. So every odd row is just a row of 1 double crochet, 1 chain. So I may not just show the workings of the odd rows, since I've mentioned that it's a row of just 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, 1 chain all round. So for every odd row, unless otherwise stated, this is what we're going to be having: 1 double crochet, 1 chain all round. So this is what we have at the end of row 3. So try to stretch out your work a bit so it just doesn't fold up. So this is what we have at the end of row 3. We slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet of the row. Now for row 4, go into the next chain space and slip stitch. Row 4 is a row of increase, so what we are having is 1 V-stitch, 1 chain in the next chain space, 1 DC, 1 chain in the next chain space. So what do I mean? So we go 1 chain, we're going to be making a V-stitch into the first chain space, 1 chain. Now go back in, another double crochet, 1 chain. Into the next chain space, we're going to be making a double crochet, 1 chain. Into the next chain space is going to be a V-stitch, 1 chain. So let's go ahead and repeat row 4 of V-stitch, 1 chain, V-stitch, 1 chain. So 1 V-stitch, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, 1 chain all the way around. So when you get to the end of the row, because you started with a V-stitch, you're going to be ending with a single crochet. You're going to be ending with 1 double crochet. After your row 4, go ahead and do your row 5. So row 5 is just going to be a repetition of row 3, which will be 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, 1 chain in each chain space to the end of the row. So this is what we have at the end of row 5. So for row 6, it's also a row of increase. We slip stitch into the next chain space, 1 chain. We're going to be making V-stitch, 1 chain into the first chain space, then 1 DC, 1 chain into the next chain 2 spaces. So that is into the first. We're going to be making 1 V-stitch, 1 chain. Now into the next chain 2 spaces, we're going to be having 1 double crochet, 1 chain, then 1 double crochet, 1 chain into the next. So this is our repetition for row 6. It's a row of increase. Every row of increase, that's where we have the V-stitch. So now, in order to avoid mistakes, now because we started row 6 with a V-stitch, we have to end with 2 double crochet, meaning we have to end with 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, 1 chain in the last 2 chain spaces. So that's what we're having for row 6. So go ahead and do row 6. Then row 7 would be a row of just 1 double crochet, 1 chain all around. So I'll meet us at the end of row 7. We've come to the end of row 7, and this is what we have at the end of row 7. Now for row 8, it's going to be V stitch, you slip stitch into the first chain space, V stitch in the first chain space, one chain, then one double crochet in the next chain 3 spaces. That will be one double crochet, one chain in the next chain 3 spaces. So let's go ahead for row 8, which is a row of increase. So we're having slip stitch into the next chain space, one chain, V stitch in the first chain space, one chain, one double crochet, one chain in next chain 3 spaces. So this is what we have: one V stitch, one chain, one double crochet, one chain in the next chain 3 spaces, the next chain space, V stitch, one chain. So this is what we are repeating for row 8. So go ahead and continue with row 8. Then row 9 will be same as row 3, which will be one double crochet, one chain, one double crochet, one chain in each chain space to the end of the row. Now I cannot overemphasize this: at the end of each row, please do not forget your chain, one chain at the end of each row before you slip stitch. Do not forget that one chain. So continue. This is row 8. Go ahead for row 9, which is one double crochet, one chain, and I'll meet you at the end of row 9. One chain, then one V stitch in the next chain 4 spaces, because for row 8 we had in the next chain 3, so chain 4 will be in the next chain 3 spaces. Sorry, and row 10 will be in the next chain 4 spaces, then a V stitch in the next chain space. So let's continue this to the end of the row. Now when you come to the end of the row 10, it has to be finished with, you have to end that row with one double crochet, one chain in the next chain 4, like in the last chain 4 spaces. Then it's like a loop, then you come into your V stitch for the beginning of the row. So let's continue for row 10, and I'll meet us at the end of row 10. Now we've come to the end of row 10, finished with our one chain and slip stitch into the first double crochet. Now the next row is row 11. This is where we are going to start decreasing. So into the next chain space, one chain, we're going to make a reduced double crochet. Now for the third single crochet of that row, we are not going to finish it, so I'm going to leave the 2 loops on the hook. Then I'll pick up a loop, go into the next stitch to reduce the first to reduce in the first chain 2 spaces. So this is our first reduction, one chain. Now because the row 10 had 4, that's one double crochet, one chain in the next chain 4 spaces, after the reduced double crochet stitch, we're going to go into the next chain 4 spaces. Now assuming you finished on row 8, that means you'll be reducing, after the reduced stitch, you'll be having one double crochet, one chain in the next chain 3 spaces. So that's how the reduction works basically. So I'll be going into the next chain 4 spaces, one chain, then I'll reduce into the next chain 2 spaces, one chain. Now go ahead into the next chain 4 spaces with one double crochet, one chain. So continue this to the end of the row. Now at the end of the row, you are going to be finishing that row with one double crochet, one chain in the next chain 4 spaces. So I'll meet you at the end of the row. We've come to the end of the row. Now do not forget to still make your one chain at the end of that row. Now we go into the top of the first reduced stitch and slip stitch. Now into the next chain space, going with one slip stitch, one chain. Now each and every reduced row will be started with a decreased stitch. So 1, 2. Now do not finish the third single crochet, go into the next chain space and reduce one chain. Now for the next row, you know the previous row we had 4, that's 1 double crochet, 1 chain, into the next chain 4 spaces. So for this next row it will be 1 double crochet, 1 chain, into the next chain 3 spaces, because we've reduced 1 stitch. Into the next chain 3 spaces, then we reduced in front of the first of the previous reduced stitch from the previous row. So this is our reduction. We reduce 1 chain. So we're going to continue to the end of the row. Then at the next reduced stitch, we reduce in front of it. So continue to the end of the row. At the end of the row, we're going to be finishing that row with 1 double crochet, 1 chain, in the next chain 3 spaces. Now we've come to the end of the row. Don't forget your 1 chain at the end of the row and slip stitch to the top of the first reduced stitch. Now you can decide to stop reducing at this point, which I'm going to do, or you can decide to reduce 1 more. So if you want to reduce 1 more, you're still going to reduce into the first chain 2 spaces, then 1 double crochet, 1 chain in the next chain 2 spaces. So that's it basically. But because I'm not reducing again, I'm going to be going into the next row with 1 double crochet, 1 chain, and I'll be doing that for the next 3 or 4 rows. So I'll meet us at the end. So to continue the next row. So we stopped at row 10 with our increase, then went for row 11 and 12 with our decreased stitches, then into the next chain space for row 13. It's going to be 1 double crochet, 1 chain in each chain space to the end. So I'm going to be repeating this row 13 for the next 3 or 4 rows. I will meet us at the end of either 3 or 4 rows to let us know what I decided on. So it's just going to be basically 1 double crochet, 1 chain to the end of the row. So I'll meet us at the end of the next 3 or 4 rows. So we've come to the end of the row. So I decided on 4 rows. So after my last row of decrease, I went for 4 rows of 1 double crochet, 1 chain in each chain space. So for the next row, we'll slip stitch into the next chain space, 1 chain. Now this is a row of just half double crochet in each chain space and in each stitch, not just the chain spaces. So this row, we are not having chain, we're not crocheting the chain stitch, it's just going to be half double crochet. So to make the first half double crochet, we're going to go into the first chain space, 1 chain, 1 single crochet, then on that we're going to make the next single crochet. So this is serving as our first half double crochet. So 1 single crochet on each other is serving as our first half double crochet. So into the next double crochet stitch, we're going to be making a half double crochet, into the next stitch a half double crochet. So this is what we are repeating all the way around, a half double crochet into each stitch and each chain space to the end. Now we've come to the end of the row. We are ending it with 1 half double crochet in the last chain space. So into the first half double crochet, we slip stitch. So now for the last row, we are going to be slip stitching in each and every stitch to the end. Now to do that, I want to explain a few things. So now go back one step on that slip stitch to close the row. Now I want us to understand something. Look at this front loop. This front loop. This is the first loop. This second one you can see is the second loop. Now if you turn your work slightly inside, this will be our third loop. So the first loop in front, the second one in the middle, the third one behind. So we are going to be slip stitching into this last two. Just like, okay, let's assume you turn your work wrong side. So when you turn it wrong side, these two. So now the next row is a row of slip stitch. Now if you look here now, looking at your work from the front, you can see these first two loops in front, these first two loops, 1, 2. Now turning your work slightly inwards, you can see another set of 2 loops behind. That means the second one will now become, the second one from the front will now become your first one for the back, these 2 loops. So this is, we'll be slip stitching into these 2 back loops of each and every half double crochet. So to do that, this back loop, just turn your work slightly. Now you don't want this roll of slip stitch to be too tight. You want to reduce your tension a bit. So now this is the first loop. We are skipping that. This is the second one, the third one. So we are slip stitching into the 2 back loops. So be careful, you need to watch the tension, as this might just tighten your work, tighten the edge of your work unnecessarily and make it small. So you need to watch the tension. So this is what we are having. Can you see? So this is that first loop that we omitted in front here, and this is the slip stitch that we're doing now. So continue this to the end of the row. Meet us at the end of the row. So we've come to the end of the row. I'm going to slip stitch into the first slip stitch and fasten off. So fasten off. Now this is what we have so far. Now for this band, we obviously don't want to leave it looking like this. We obviously don't want to leave it looking like this. So this is where the elastic cord comes in. Now I'm going to be using it to slip stitch the inner edge of the beret, so it gives it form. Now in order to do this, let's turn our work inside out to the wrong side. This is what we have. So just like we slip stitched into the 2 back loops of the slip stitch row, what we're going to do here, we're going to slip stitch. So go ahead and turn your work inside out for the last row. Should I call it the last row? Let's call it the last row, or the cord row, the elastic cord row. So for this, we're going to be slip stitching into, if your work was right side facing you, that means you'll be slip stitching into the back loops of the slip stitch row. But because I've turned it inside out and it's facing me now, we're going to be slip stitching into these loops, the ones facing you, into these loops. This loop is back, this loop. This is what we're going to slip stitch using the elastic cord. So to start, we just go into the first slip stitch. Now this is where our smaller hook comes into play. So now here, take care not to let the tension be too tight. Also, just slip stitch normally. So that's it basically. So into each this small loop that you can see here, just slip stitch into it. If you turn your work right side facing, at the end of the day, this elastic cord, because it's black, it's not going to be showing. But if you have the color of the yarn you're using, you can go ahead and use the same color. But all I have is black for now, so that's why I'm working with the black. And I will be wearing this myself, so even if it was for a customer, it's still not going to show. This is it when you turn it right side. So just continue, slip stitch in each back loop till you get to the end. So that's it basically. We've come to the end of the project. So when you get to the end, you slip stitch. When you get here, fast enough, and weave in all your ends. Don't forget the end at the beginning, in the middle. So weave in all your ends, and thank you for watching. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.